HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Uy, qué bueno está este podcast, pero como que ya hace hambre y se antojan unos faps de McDonald's. Ve por un McTrío McPollo. ¿O McTocino? Elige el McTrío McPollo con papas medianas y refresco con refill por solo 99 pesos. O el McTrío McTocino, que también cuesta solo 99 pesos y también trae papas medianas y refresco con refill. O mejor pide los dos. Elige tu fab por solo 99 pesos. Corre por el tuyo McDonald's. Y ahora sí, sigue disfrutando del episodio.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Bivens here, and welcome to another episode of the Having It All podcast. It is a beautiful summer day in July here in Atlanta, and my birthday is in 2 days. So I'm excited about that, and I'm in a really amazing mood and frame of mind and just space right now, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. And I'm really excited about today's conversation. It was inspired by an experience I had just the other day, and today I'm going to be talking about a belief. This is a belief that a lot of people hold. I hold it as well, and it's the belief that God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, him, her, presents you with what you need and not always what you want. And so I'm going to share a story, something that happened to me the other day. And you'll see how in that story, this belief, this lesson was sort of implanted in there. And, you know, there's actually a lot of beautiful things that happened on this experience for me. And I probably could talk about a number of them, but I really wanted to focus on, you know, receiving what you need and not what you want. So let me get into this story. So Sarah and I have one car. When we were pregnant, we had 2 cars, and then I hit somebody from behind, and so we went down to 1 car. And so what that meant, obviously, is that we had to learn how to become a 1-car household. And we've done a pretty freaking awesome job at that. Just being able to navigate all the things that come with 2 people who have independent schedules and 1 car and blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying. So the other day, the car needed some service. And that's always interesting when you're down to a single car. You know, how am I going to get the car to the shop? How am I going to get home from the shop? How am I going to get back to the shop? How do we need to rearrange the schedule so that while the car is in the shop, we can still maintain a semi-normal life while being carless? So I have ridden Uber in the past. I've ridden with friends and everything, but I had never done it myself. So the other day, I had an opportunity to download the Uber app and to take Uber myself, which was a lot of fun. You know, I love technology, so it was very cool for me to experience Uber firsthand. And I imagine that most of you out there are just sort of laughing to yourself, like, this dude's talking about his first time on an Uber. It's 2017. What the heck? But yes, this is my first time. So I download the app, I summon a vehicle, and the first Uber driver picks me up from the garage and takes me back to the house. It was a very uneventful ride. I think we exchanged 2 sentences like, hello, how are you? Oh, I'm great. How are you? I'm fantastic. Your day going well? Yeah, my day's going great. Awesome. And I think that was it. And, we just sat in silence for the next 15 minutes. So, I get to the house and I say, thanks, sir. And then, I asked a dumb question, like, how do I pay you? He's like, oh, it's all done through the app. And so, oh, okay, cool. So I went back inside and continued my day. And when I got the call from the garage that the car was ready, I went ahead and summoned my next Uber. And one thing that's cool about Uber and those services are that they the way I think it works is they put out the call to all their drivers, hey, we've got someone who needs a pickup, and they select, I guess the system selects whoever is closest to you. So it's, sort of random, but there's that element in it of why did this person pick me up? Or why were our paths meant to cross? So when I summon the second Uber of the day and the driver pulls into my driveway, I hop in the car and immediately there was a different vibe. He was warm, he was friendly. I think I was probably in a different frame of mind as well. I was more open to having a conversation, and straight from the get-go, it's just like we're chit-chatting back and forth. It's kind of like we're old buddies. The gentleman's name was John, and he was a few years older than me. He was probably actually closer to my parents' age, maybe in his early 50s, mid-50s. And, he sees that I'm carrying a couple of bags because I was going to go straight from the garage to my next destination. So I had a backpack with me, I had a change of clothes, and I had a bag of food.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Uy, qué bueno está este podcast, pero como que ya hace hambre y se antojan unos faps de McDonald's. Ve por un McTrío McPollo. ¿O McTocino? Elige el McTrío McPollo con papas medianas y refresco con refill por solo 99 pesos. O el McTrío McTocino, que también cuesta solo 99 pesos y también trae papas medianas y refresco con refill. O mejor pide los dos. Elige tu fab por solo 99 pesos. Corre por el tuyo a McDonald's. Y ahora sí, sigue disfrutando del episodio.
And so he's just making chit chat and small talk, and he's asking me about, hey, you going camping? And, I had a bag that looked like a camping bag, and I said, no, I'm just this is my change of clothes. I'm heading off to do some work. And he asked me, oh, is that food? I said, yeah, it's food. He's like, oh, okay. Do you have kids? And I don't really understand why he asked me that question. He saw a brown bag of food and he assumed that I had kids. But I said, yes, my wife and I have a baby girl. And he's like, oh, wow, it's beautiful, beautiful. How old is she? What's her name? I said, Maya, she's 10 months old. And then I asked him, do you have kids? And he said, yes, I have 3 girls. And for me, when I hear, a man share that he has multiple daughters, my ears immediately perk up, and I'm immediately interested in learning more about him and his family, and just honestly, I feel like a sponge, and I want to soak up a lot of that wisdom. And thankfully for me, John had a lot of wisdom to share, a lot of experience to share. And I'm going to pause the story right there and give you a bit of context as to why, when I'm talking to fathers of girls, of daughters, that I tend to pay attention and perk up. And it really has to do with a lot of the, in my opinion, a lot of the programming, the conversation, the energy that's out in the mass consciousness around daughters, around women, around raising women. And I experienced it firsthand when Sarah and I started sharing the news that we were going to have a baby girl. so many times, I can't tell you how many times the response was something less than loving. It was a response like, oh, well, you better watch out. You better get a shotgun ready. When she becomes a teenager, oh boy, those boys are going to come calling, or she's going to start acting crazy, or, girls are such a handful. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how many times I heard those types of comments. Honestly, it was probably 95% of the comments that people had were either had that sort of feeling to them, or they were kind of neutral. So few people had empowering, encouraging, positive things to say about the fact that I was having a baby girl that I think became a bit jaded, and I would really push back and sort of get, I don't know, maybe antagonistic towards people who had anything other than great things to say. Really dismiss them, and I think I was just judging them and probably spitting some venom in my mind with my conversation, because I just felt that it was completely incorrect, completely incorrect. And then one of my friends, I shared with him the news, and he has three daughters himself, and he looked at me, and just in his way, in his soft voice, he said, "Man, she's gonna melt your heart." And I got teary eyed. Tears came to my eyes when he said that, because he was the first person who had said something beautiful and loving and empowering about the fact that I was about to be a father to a baby girl. So that's my context around connecting with, or around sharing the news that I was having a daughter, that I have a daughter. And that's why today, when I talk to someone, when I talk to a man who has daughters, I want to, I'm all ears. I think that there's a very unique experience that folks in those situations share. And because John from the Uber, he could relate. He could relate to me because he experienced the same sorts of comments from people years ago when he shared that he was having girls. And, you may not know this about me, but I host another podcast with my wife, Sarah, and it's a podcast all about home birth. So baby Maya was born at home. We welcomed her into the world right in our master bedroom. It was the most beautiful, powerful, humbling, awe-inspiring experience of my life. And we created a podcast to talk about home birth and to interview home birth families. And so, I produced that show right alongside with this show, and we publish 2 episodes a week, and we have interviewed dozens and dozens and dozens of moms and families. And I have had the amazing opportunity to talk to so many women, so many amazing, strong, beautiful goddess women about, celebrating that thing that only women can do. And I think it's really changed something within me, my view towards women, my view towards girls, towards my daughter, just having that unique podcast experience. And so that kind of gives you a little bit more understanding as to why when I'm sitting in the Uber and John mentions he has 3 girls, I'm like, John, pour it on me. I want to hear your experience. And John didn't hold back, thankfully. He talked to me about, he has three grown daughters. 2 of them, I think 2 were in college, and one had one was a little bit older than college age. So, he had 20 some odd years of experience raising girls that he could share with me. And he just talked about just their beautiful nature, that nurturing, caring side that his daughters would display. Things that he didn't necessarily experience from other males in his life. And, he talked about how they look out for him, and, the cards that they might send him or the things they might say. And he just talks about how, his life was transformed through his daughters. And then came, the message or the belief that is at the core of this episode. And John was a religious man, And, he was talking a lot about God. And, he says to me, God doesn't make any mistakes. God gives you what you need, not always what you want. And he said, when my wife and I were pregnant, I wanted a boy. I wanted a boy. He said, what man doesn't want to have a son, somebody who can carry on his name and someone who looks like him? And I understood that. When Sarah and I were pregnant, I wanted a boy as well. And for a long time, I thought Maya was a boy. We got a lot of reinforcement from people who said, "Oh, I think you guys are having a boy." And I've had a very an attachment to passing on the Bivens name, whatever that means, right? And that's another episode. So John is sharing with me that he too had that feeling of, I want a boy. And then when he found out that he and his wife were pregnant with a girl, that belief, that message, that that statement of God is going to give you what you need and not what you want, it came to him. And he said that he was resistant for a while. He was frustrated for a while, and he really wanted a boy, and he had his heart set on a boy, and he just didn't understand. And there was a little bit of disappointment and a little bit of fear, and all of these things that were kind of swirling within about, you get this news that you're obviously your life is about to change in a magnificent way, but it's not necessarily changing in the direction that you had hoped for. And I can imagine that's tough to grapple with. I didn't experience it quite like that, but I can put myself in John's shoes and imagine that is a challenging thing. And then John shared that, one night, I believe he said it was in a dream, or maybe in that sort of pre-sleep state, that he had a vision. I guess not a vision, because it was sort of a voice. So he was a recipient of a divine message, and the message was, you are meant to raise this daughter. You are meant to raise this little girl. You are not meant to raise a boy. You are meant to bring this girl into the world and cherish her and love her and help her grow into an amazing woman. And when John heard that, everything shifted. His feelings about having a daughter, his excitement about having a daughter, all of that shifted. The fear melted away, the anxiety melted away, the what ifs and the nerves, all of that melted away, and he just knew that this is what was supposed to happen. He was telling me, he's like, Matthew, God gave me what I needed and not what I wanted. And so John went on to have 2 other daughters, and once again, like, he was meant to bring those girls into the world. He was meant to be the father to those girls. And the reason why I wanted to share this, and the reason why it hit me, it obviously goes beyond the parent connection. Like, I can understand where John's coming from on a parental level, being the father to a baby girl. I get that. But there's a deeper message in that anyone, all of us, you listening, can connect with. And it's this idea, once again, it's a belief. You can choose to believe it. I believe it. It's that life is going to present you with exactly what is meant for you. Right? The circumstances that you're presented with in life. Circumstance is neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. You can call it the content of life, and then we add context to it. But life is going to present you with circumstances. It may not be what you want. A lot of times it won't be what you want. But it's exactly what you need in that moment in your life to grow, to heal, to transform. And it really is up to us to shift that context, to perhaps try on a different lens, a different paradigm, to look at the situation in a slightly different way in order to be able to truly connect and incept whatever lesson is in the experience. Whatever that deeper meaning of the experience is, it's up to us. because we can miss it. We can absolutely miss it. We can become jaded that life or God or source gave us something that wasn't meant for us. Like, no, that was not supposed to happen to me. And we can all probably think of an instance in our own lives when we were saying, no, that was not supposed to happen to me. Or think of other people who've said that and perhaps have continued to carry that belief on for years and years and years, always believing that the circumstance that they were handed, the circumstance that they were met with in life was not meant for them. Or you can choose something else. You always have choice. And so what I really loved about my conversation with John is that, he just helped to provide me another example, another story that helped me truly connect to that belief, that idea that, life is going to present you not what you want, but what you need. And then to look at all of the things, the people, the experiences that come in and out of your life and see, okay, why was this presented to me? What is the greater opportunity in this that I can, tap into? Where is the opportunity for growth? Where is the opportunity for deeper understanding of myself, of other people, of life itself? Where is the opportunity of healing, of transformation? Because that opportunity is always there. It's just up to us to recognize it and to take it, to take advantage of it, to take action on it. And so when I think back to my Uber ride a couple days ago, I think, wow, anybody could have picked me up. Anyone, right? Anyone in the area. That computer system could have selected, it could have selected the same exact driver I had the first time to take me back to the mechanic. And I could have had the same exact boring ride where we didn't talk and I looked at my phone for 15 minutes. But that's not what happened. It's not what was supposed to happen. I was supposed to cross paths with John. We were supposed to have this beautiful, just connected conversation between two strangers. And what was so cool about our conversation is once we got to the mechanic shop, he just pulled his car over to the side and put it in park, and we continued talking for a few more minutes. Neither of us was interested in cutting off the conversation just because it was so organic and it was so honest. And I felt like I had known him for a while, and I felt like, I really could relate to what he was talking about. And, he had a message for me. He had information that, he was supposed to pass down, and I appreciate him for not holding back. So, I invite you, really, whatever you're experiencing right now, maybe you're going through some experience in your family, maybe you're going through a challenging financial experience, perhaps your relationship is not the way that you had wanted it to be. I invite you to look for the opportunity to look to see, okay, maybe this isn't what I wanted, but this is what I needed. This is what I needed in order to understand something new, in order to understand myself in a new way. Maybe this is the opportunity that I've been secretly asking for so that I can finally take that action that I know will get me out of this rut. That I can finally move. I'm very, very, very appreciative of John and very happy that I had that experience and that I really have this platform to share that experience with other people. This is the third time I've told that story to an audience. When it happened on Tuesday in the afternoon, that evening I shared the story with my fitness class. The next day I shared the story with a small community group of people who come together once a month for a get-together. And today I'm sharing that story again with you, and I just think it's profound. So, recognize that you won't always get what you want in life, but you're always going to get what you need. And so if you can, humble yourself enough to receive the lesson, to receive that nugget of just that diamond, to receive that diamond that's in the experience. I would love to hear your feedback on the show and your feedback on this episode, and I would just love to hear from you. That'd be amazing. So if you are interested in reaching out and connecting with me, you can do so on my website, MatthewBivens.com. There's a contact tab on the site. You can fill out the form and it goes right to the top of my inbox, and I will absolutely respond to you. Or you can email me directly. I love giving out my email address. This is my direct email address on Gmail. It is Matt, M-A-T-T-C, Bivens @gmail.com. mattcbivens@gmail.com. So again, if you want to connect with me, if you want to provide feedback on the podcast, you want to talk about this episode, maybe there's other topics you'd love for me to address, please let me know. And if you want to check out my other podcast as well, if you're into birth and pregnancy and babies and all that stuff, then definitely go check out Doing It at Home. And I'll put a link to the website in the show notes, but the website for that show is diahpodcast.com. So like Doing It at Home podcast, diahpodcast.com. And you can check out our website. You can search for that show name, Doing It at Home, on iTunes, on Google Play, on Stitcher. We are on Facebook, Doing It at Home. We are on Instagram at DIAH Podcast. And my wife, Sarah, she is amazing at updating the Facebook content and the Instagram content. And there's just a lot of beautiful stuff going on with that show. And I definitely recommend you check it out if that type of stuff is your jam. And I'm complete. And I'm very grateful for you all giving me the opportunity to just share these experiences, share these breakthroughs, share my breakdowns. All of it wouldn't be possible without you tuning in every single week. And so I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all.